All right, we are going to pick right up where the last video left off. This is Boneshatter Juggernaut. It is a level 97 build, and this is in Necropolis League. This is after I did a lot of testing last league and some more testing this league and made some changes. We've also had an automation gem added into here, so I've incorporated that. Call to arms. Maybe I don't have automation on this one, but I did use call to arms. So what we're going to talk about in this video is the skill gems that I have and why I have certain ones, and a little bit of experience with the way these are set up. So first and foremost, I have a 5-link axe that has all of the totems in here. So we've got the Ancestral Protector, we've got the Ancestral War Chief, multiple totem support, and then life tap for these and Culling Strike. I didn't want to put Culling Strike on my Boneshatter side, so I put it over here on the totems. I think it works. I think it does its job, but it's kind of difficult to tell because once an enemy hits 10%, a lot of enemies just kind of vaporize at some point, and you have to get them down to 10%. So it's not very noticeable. When you're using a Slayer build, you get that 20% cull. You notice that a lot more. So I don't really notice it so much on this, and I haven't done enough boss fighting to really get a good grasp on it, but I put that on here, and I do try to make sure that I have both totems out. This does support both, so it goes for both. And I've life tapped these because what we're going to talk about on the passive tree side is there's a passive point that I've taken which greatly increases my damage for life-based skills. So I've life tapped everything on here. So you're going to see a lot of life tap in here, aside from like the auras and stuff. So the Ancestral Protector and the Ancestral War Chief, I throw down the War Chief first and then the Protector. So if I was to come walking over, I would press Q, then I would press E. You can press Q and W. So I would if you press W and then Q, what you'll notice is that these change from 1 to 2, or 3, or 1 to 2. Depending on the order, because I've got the multiple totem support socketed in a 5-link with all this other stuff, you can actually summon 3 totems at once. It will either be 2 of this kind and 1 of this kind, or 1 of this kind and 2 of this kind. And it really, I don't think it matters how you lay them out, but I call the Ancestral War Chief out first. One of these actually speeds up your... One of these speeds, I think it's this one. I think this is what, which one is it? So I don't know if it matters by quantity or just having a totem out, but the Ancestral Protector gives you 20% more attack speed while totem is active. So if I summon this out, I've got a little bit faster attack speed. If I switch this out, you'll notice that now I have 2 of these other ones. It's kind of the same. Like, I don't know that it makes a big difference. The only real reason that I have these 2 side by side is if I put this out kind of in this order, the War Chief first with 1, and then the Protector with 2, they kind of do about the same damage, I think. I don't know that it matters. I haven't really figured out a definitive answer of which one should deploy first, which one should have 2. I don't know that answer, but I put the little green one first and then the blue one. The blue one has 20% more attack speed while the totem is active. So assuming each one gives you a little bit more attack speed, I put this one to where I would have 2 of these, hoping that if I get 20% attack speed each, then it gives me that. I don't know that it does that, but that's kind of the reason why I have the War Chief out first, where I have 1 of, and then the Protector out where I have 2 of as the second one. Don't know if that makes any sense or not, but that's what I've got. They're both life tap because I've got a thing on the passive tree that gives me a lot more damage on here. And then for last league, I had a 4-link version of this. I did not have life tap, and I can't remember what I had down here. I think maybe what I had was like Ancestral Protector, multiple totems, and something else, maybe Maim and Culling Strike or something like that. And then I had Ancestral War Chief down here with Maim or something like that. Like I had it different last league. This league, it's a 5-link and then a single over here for Berserk. You do not need to 6-link this. If you do, there are other options. I talked about that in my equipment video, but that's what I've got my axe set up in here. For the helmet, I've got Call to Arms with Ancestral Cry, Life Tap, and Leap Slam. I didn't really have anywhere else to toss Leap Slam into, so it landed here. Call to Arms basically works off Life Tap, so does Ancestral Cry. All of this is Life Tapped in there. So I ended up basically having a couple of spots left. I don't remember what I had up here, but it was another aura that I had for a little while. I realized I had Arrogance and Pride or something like that. I think it was Arrogance and Pride. Or Arrogance in one of those. I don't remember which one it was, but I ended up moving Arrogance out, and I was able to socket in Call to Arms and Ancestral Cry up here. I was already life tapping Leap Slam, so it just made sense to put that there. For the Boneshatter build itself, I ran Boneshatter for quite a while. With the amount of attack speed that I've got, I could get Boneshatter up to like 40 stacks. Like it was a crazy amount. If the fight went on long enough, I could get a lot of stacks. I still don't quite have the recovery to quite pull things together, but with Boneshatter of Complex Trauma, you drop stacks at 10 trauma and then you rebuild them. So I've got a lot of attack speed to keep it coming back up. I might want to tone the attack speed down just so that this hangs a little bit longer, or maybe put an increased duration or something on here. I don't remember if I have that anymore. I had increased duration on here at one point, but I think I took it off. Obviously taking it off because I don't have it. But I ended up getting Boneshatter of Complex Trauma at some point. With the regular Boneshatter gem and the way I had my passive tree set up prior, I was getting 2.5 million DPS. With Boneshatter of Complex Trauma, I was able to readjust a couple of things on my passive tree, and I still have 2.5 million DPS with Boneshatter of Complex Trauma. So when I made the switch initially, I actually lost some DPS, but I was able to switch some things around and make it the way it is now. Unfortunately, you can't start with Boneshatter Complex Trauma. You actually have to go and get that out of Labyrinth, and lab runs suck. It took me quite a while to get one. I had to probably do 6 or 10 of them to actually get one. I was running it. Well, maybe more than that, because I ran several characters and it took a while to get. But if you do use Boneshatter of Complex Trauma, you may have to tweak your passive tree slightly to accommodate it, and the gem you have down here might switch a little bit based on that. I've also got melee fizz damage, brutality support, fortify support, impale, and life tap. Now, life tap lets me take a big advantage on the passive tree. The way this build started off, which I'll explain more in the passive tree section, is there's the actual, I have to mention this here, I don't really want to talk about the whole passive tree, but precise technique was what this build started at. And if you have precise technique, you have to maintain accuracy higher than your life pool. I don't really like that because I'd rather pump my life pool up a little bit and not have to fight against the upper limits of my accuracy and all that. So I don't do that. But in the change that I made in the passive tree accommodates that and gets me that 40% damage back, because precise technique gives you 40% increased damage if you go that route, but you have to keep your accuracy above your life. So then I can't put as much life on everything, and I feel like I'm hamstringing myself. So I don't have to worry about accuracy with this, and that's why I don't worry about precise technique, and that's why I am using life tap, because you could use other gems here, but life tap specifically gets me the way that I fix the not using precise technique. On my gloves, as I mentioned in the equipment video, I have +1 to socketed AoE gems. Typically, I would put all the AoE gems in the helmet. That's where they're usually listed as being. It doesn't really matter to my knowledge, but because I have this +1 socketed AoE gems, I put all my AoE stuff down here. So I've got Purity of Elements. The reason I ended up taking this, I used to have I don't remember what I had. Pride or whatever. I guess it was Pride. I guess I had, not Pride. I don't remember. It was a blue gem. I don't remember what it was, but I ended up switching it out to Purity of Elements because I did not realize, This helps out with all the elemental resistances, which is great. But the big thing that I did not know that it did, or I never paid attention to, is that it makes you immune to all elemental ailments. So I put this thing on. I was like, cool, I'm now immune to all that. I don't have to worry about my elemental resistances so much. And all my elemental ailments are solved. So I don't have to deal with any of that. Other stuff, yes, but this kind of solves a bunch of that. And my regular resistances are well enough where they're at. I don't need to worry about. It also let me switch out a flask, so it just made some cool things happen by switching that out. I'm using War Banner, Determination, and Pride. So Pride is actually not running because I don't have the mana reservation to equip it. So I probably need to look at moving something around or seeing if there's something else I can use over here, because that's actually not even being used. If I had the ability to, I would be using Pride. But I ended up, and that frees up a socket. So probably a good time for me to really go back and revisit this build and see what else I can change out. Because that is a socket I could use. Maybe if there's some other AoE, but I'm really tight on reservation space. Over here on this is cast when damage taken. Over on my boots, there's cast when damage taken set up. This is one I struggled with for a while. I've got this leveled up to level 3 and I stopped. This lets me equip up to level 42 gems. So over here, I've got vulnerability at, I'm saying that the wrong way. It lets me equip gems that have certain level requirements. So this level 7 vulnerability gem requires level 42, which is what this is, the cast when damage taken allows me to do. This gem can only support skill gems requiring level 42 or less. So this one is at 42, so this fits the bill. We're also running life tap on here. From what I understand, you can run life tap all the way up to however far up, level 20. You don't have to cut this one off, because the thing that actually cast on damage taken affects is what it's triggering. So I was able to take Molten Shell up to level 11, which requires level 40. If this one goes up any more levels, it's going to be 44, and it'll be out of the scope of the call to our cast when damage taken. So that's this setup here. I think I could take cast when damage taken up a little bit more and level these up a little bit more. I've just not messed with it. That's kind of where I've gotten. I've not tinkered with it, because if I do that, that means that I'd have to start over with these gems and re-level them, and I haven't really felt like messing with it. So that is my gem setup and the way I have my skills. I put Boneshatter on my right click, and then as I talked about earlier, I've got Q and W for the totems, E is my leap slam, and then R is for once you're I'm going to say fury, and that's not it. Oh, the rage. Once your rage meter builds up, you can kick off Berserk, and Berserk makes you attack really, really fast. So it burns off all the rage that's built up, but you get a lot of attack really fast, and you can put out a lot of DPS really quickly. I use that for like a big push on something. There's something nasty just came into view, and those things with the red rings around them that keep you from regenerating, those things I'll hit with the Berserk or whatever, or some big thick enemy comes in and I hit it with a Berserk. But that's basically how I have this set up. And then I put my call to arms down here just so I can see it going off, really. But I do not have Flame Dash on here. I just Leap Slam everywhere. That's it. A quick note on Leap Slam. I did get somewhere, if it's in here or somewhere else, I have this Leap Slam of Groundbreaking. I tried this for a little while. It's level 19. I leveled up quite a bit. I didn't like it all that much. Basically, instead of getting a decent Leap Slam, like we're going, that's a good range of distance. Like you're going from here to here. That thing's much, much shorter. It's like a little bunny hop. And I noticed that when I had like ice monsters and stuff around me that cast that ice wall or whatever, I wasn't nearly as able to get out of them as I can with this. It didn't seem like my leaps were as far, so I quit using it. I was going to use it because this thing offers a little bit more damaging hits, always stun enemies that are on full life. I like that. I like that stun. One thing that I really like is to leap in, stun an enemy, or stun the pack of enemies, drop my totems, and then start beating on them with Boneshatter. I think that works out really well, because you get time to put your totems down while they're stunned, and then you can start doing damage to them. So I like the idea of that leap slam having that stun on it, but like I said, it's like a little bunny hop, and I didn't care for it. So anyway, that is my gear, or the not the gear, but that is the jewel portion, or gems. Gem, I gotta write words. That is the gem portion and skills of the Boneshatter build that I have for this league. We will catch you on the next video.